Baby, he was checking the back of my leaves. I kind of lost the plot on that. Y'all, look at these beautiful marigolds. Over here, we have a mess. Look at that. That's amazing. Hello, welcome to Yellow Door Urban Homestead. I am Asia, and I'm an urban gardener growing in a small space out in my backyard. Today though, we're going on a garden tour. We didn't get a garden tour last week. I had planned on it, but we didn't get one, so we're gonna do it today. So if you're new here, I am Asia. I garden in Virginia, Zone 7B. I grow in ground. I grow in raised beds. I grow in no dig. I grow in pots and bags. I grow in greenhouses, green stalks. Yes, that's how I grow. Anyway, so today is June the 3rd, I believe, of 2026. We did a garden harvest on Monday's video. I will link that down in the description or maybe try to put a card on the screen if I remember. Very nice harvest for the beginning of June. I'm very excited. I saw a comment on that video though, which, by the way, if you did not know, that video includes a giveaway. I didn't put it in the title because I don't want the scammers to come out. So if you haven't watched it and if you are interested in a giveaway, you can go and watch that video too and enter the giveaway. It closes on Friday, June the 5th, in case you're interested. But I saw a comment on there and I've been reading through them. I need to go press love on them because I think we're at like 200 comments at this point. But just know I have read y'all's comments. A lot of them made me smile at what you are looking forward to the most this year. But I saw a comment where someone said like, I'm so far behind you. I must have done something wrong. So I don't know where that person is. So I don't know where they are in the world, what zone they're in. Not that zone matters. It's more about your puppy. It's more about your last frost date. So I don't know. But what I'm gonna try to do in this garden tour is talk about when I started stuff, when I planted things out, those kind of things, so that maybe it can help also to give you some perspective. My last frost was the beginning of May. Well, that was my last predicted frost. So if your last predicted frost was after that, then you would be somewhat behind me. If you didn't plan out until like mid-May, end of May, you would be somewhat behind me. I think I started planting out sometime end of April, beginning of May in some spots. And so when you're looking at my garden, keep that in mind because you probably are not behind for your situation. Just like if I look at someone gardening in Texas, I would feel behind. They've done a bunch of harvests and that was my first real good summer harvest, right? So think about, you know, where you are. And then if you did plant when I planted, it still doesn't mean our weather wasn't different. You see what I'm saying? So I don't want anyone to look at my garden or look at my harvest and feel like they're behind because chances are you're not. And if you're in an area like mine, with weather like mine, with a long growing season, it doesn't matter anyway because eventually you're gonna get a whole bunch of harvest. So I just wanted to say that because I don't want anybody to be looking at my garden and thinking that. Also, remember at this point, I don't work a full-time job, y'all. So I could be out here all day if I want to, tending to this garden. I think it's one of the things that we don't talk about a lot in this community. There are some people who they're doing this for a living, right? And I love it. But for people who are working 9 to 5s, because I did do this as, you know, working 9 to 5, and I spent my evenings outside. And when it was super hot, I was spending my evenings watering, not really tending the garden. And then like I spent my weekends doing it, but everybody cannot do that. I'm an introvert, so I like being at home and I like being outside in my garden in my backyard by myself. Everybody is not like that. And so for me, I'm able to come out here at any point in the day and work in my garden. So if you are working a 9 to 5, please remember I am working, but this is my job. So I don't want anybody to be thinking like I'm not doing enough because I'm probably doing too much, but I enjoy it, okay? So we're gonna go through the garden tour. We're gonna try to do it fast. Okay, also I have a hoodie on. I know y'all like, why she got a hoodie on? It's like 50-some degrees this morning. It is 50-some degrees in Virginia Zone 7B this morning, but it's supposed to be 80-something today. Other thing is, it's pretty early in the morning. Somebody is having trees cut down, like 3 of them. They've been working on it since last week, but they were huge trees. So let me tell y'all, okay, squirrel. I was just like jumping everywhere right there. So let me finish that statement. So I wanted to get it done early before they got started because it's very loud out here. I was out here last night watering and I didn't even finish watering. Not because of them, just because I was ready to go in the house. But I was out here watering, it was very loud. So they'll be back soon and it'll get very loud out here again. What I was about to tell y'all, and then we're gonna start this garden tour. I had a guy come yesterday because the first company, they came to look at the trees, they ghosted me, baby. I think there is so much stuff in the backyard and they didn't want to deal with it, which is fine, but just tell me like we can't do it. Anyway, they did not ever call me back. And I called them twice now. But and they are the ones who cut down the tree over here. But I guess there wasn't a lot of stuff in their way. Blah, 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 blah. I had a guy come yesterday to look at the trees because I really want to get them cut back. And I'm assuming he's a gardener, right? So the first thing he said when he came is you using all of the space you can. And I was like, yeah. He's on his way out. He happened to turn around, look at the green stalk. He saw that I had zucchini in it. He said, you got squash bugs on here? Baby, he was checking the back of my leaves. I said the squash bugs and the squash vine boards got us gardeners out here in the chokehold. He in a stranger yard checking my leaves. I thought it was the cutest and funniest thing. But yeah, the squash vine boards got us in a chokehold. They have not made it here yet, and I'm hopeful. I'm very, very hopeful that I could get a good harvest before they get here. I've already gotten one zucchini, and I'm very happy about that. Made my own coffee this morning. It's almost gone because I made it before I took my daughter to school, so I can drink a cup of coffee. It's decaf though. I quit drinking caffeinated coffee. Y'all do not care. Let us do this garden tour, y'all. Is she trying to figure out why the door shut? Because you kept going and digging in my garden. That's why it's shut. Hey girl, this is my puppy, in case you're new here, and that's literally her name. She's absolutely not a puppy. She's 6 years old. So since we're already out here, we're gonna start with the green stalks. We're not going into like detail. I haven't planted anything new in the green stalks, although I'm planning to go to the nursery that I go to, and I'm gonna get a whole flat. For one, I brought my mom some zucchini. I let that die. Y'all, all of them seedlings in the greenhouse almost died. A lot of them did. There's still some that's alive, but I forgot they were in there. I'm not really sure what happened. Anyway, I'm going to get some seedlings to fill these pockets. And today I'm just gonna get what they have available and I'm gonna come up out of there. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna be too picky because I have realized like I don't feel like taking care of seeds right now. And that's okay. I could go get seedlings from the store. All right, so over here we have 4 green stalks. They consist of strawberries. These are herbs. Both of these are herbs. I'm loving having the herb green stalks right beside my back door. And then this is a strawberry. These are native strawberries. Still have not cleaned them up, y'all. It's a mess. And then we have potatoes down here. What I will tell you is I'm no longer turning this green stalk. I'm leaving the potatoes in the front. There's a few potatoes to the side, but they are getting sun. So once I harvest these, I'll start to turn it again. And like I said, pretty sure I'm gonna put some sunflowers in there. And I'm gonna just try to direct sow them and put the little cups or whatever on the back. That's what I'm gonna try to do. These potatoes were planted out much later. I wanna say I planted these potatoes sometime in April because I had the space. That's when I noticed that most of my garlic had died. So with that being the case, I planted these potatoes later, which is why they look a bit more hydrated and stuff than the other potatoes you're gonna see because they were planted later. So they're not gonna be ready for harvest just yet. The strawberries, they got planted last year, so they overwintered. Now, I'm sure you can see that they don't look healthy. I did not fertilize them. Like I didn't take this down and try to fertilize them and clean them up and stuff at the beginning of the season. And so that's why it looks like that. But I just wanted to explain this green stalk and when things were planted because that's why my potatoes still look good and you're gonna see other potatoes that don't. Somebody asked me if I still had my sink. I do. It's right over here. It's right beside my back door. So I thought that was a good idea. I need to find a shorter table. I also, when I had my seedlings sitting over here, I didn't think about the fact that the soil was coming through the bottom of one. So I need to clean this out. But yeah, I need to find a shorter table. But yes, I do still have it and I absolutely still love it. Haven't used it this season yet, but I will when I have a big enough harvest where I need to. And then the rain barrel over there, I know people want updates on that too. The rain barrel is full, but I need to drain it and then let it fill up again. I need to drain it, but I don't want to drain it right by the foundation of my house. So I need to get a water hose and then let it kind of come out and go into the yard. So I'm gonna do that and then let it fill up again. By the way, because somebody asked how many green stalks do I have? Total is 16 green stalks. Although pretty sure I'm gonna get the tomato one when it comes out. Even though I think that the sage would go well too, I don't think I have space for 2. Although my daughter has been taking Puppy out in the front, so I could take this backyard for myself. Because people always say, like, what about Puppy? We have a front yard too. I did leave this space for her. This is not the only space we have. I have a backyard. She in my other greenhouse now, y'all. Come get her. I said other greenhouse. Okay, so this is where the rest of our green stalks are, and there's one in the Bootstrap Farmer greenhouse. I'll show you that too. So we have strawberries here. The Snapdragon is still looking beautiful, still growing. So we absolutely gonna start putting more Snapdragons in here. I just need to stake it, and I did get around to stake it some. I'll show y'all, not all of them. There's a little bit of Swiss chard down there, but for the most part, this is a strawberry green stalk. Eventually, that's exactly what it'll be, only strawberries. Right here, you have a leek and potato soup green stalk. Oh, these strawberries were planted out, I wanna say maybe sometime in April, and I purchased them from a local store. They are June bearing strawberries. That's actually the variety name, June bearing. And there also is Chandler in here. They are first year strawberries. I do not pull flowers, I just let them produce. These strawberries have been producing really well. Nice size strawberries. We are about to start getting our next flush of strawberries. You can see flowers. You can see the actual berries coming in. So I'm excited about that. You have a leek and potato soup green stalk. I honestly cannot remember exactly when the leeks were planted. It doesn't really matter in my case because I have an allium leaf miner problem. So these are coming out when these potatoes and this celery, and y'all, when I did my harvest, I completely forgot about the celery. There is celery down at the bottom, you see down there? And I completely forgot to harvest that. But these potatoes were planted, I want to say sometime in March when I planted out my other group of potatoes. So they're looking like, you know, they're looking pretty bad, but they're going to start dying back soon. I did a very deep watering on all the green stalks yesterday, so they look way better than they did. But I think I planted these out sometime in March because potatoes in my backyard, what I have learned is they like to start growing early. In the past, when I've planted them later, like when I plant everything else, they start to struggle really early. One year I planted them out early. I don't know why, just because I think I had bags, I could move them, trying to get a jump on the season. I realized they much more prefer to get started in the chillier weather. Now, they are not cold hardy. So if you get a freeze, it will burn the leaves. They may die back, but they will sprout again. So we did get a freeze. I did get some burning. They did not die completely back. And so that worked for me, but I did plant them early. So like in March in my case. Now, I'm doing this all from memory. I could be a little bit off on the time frames and the dates. What I will tell you is a lot of this stuff was planted on camera, so you can absolutely go back and start watching my videos from like late February, early March, and you'll find out when I actually planted this stuff. I'm doing it from memory. Right here we have what's called a pink blossom green stalk, and we have zucchini growing in here. Y'all know I like to show my zucchini off in this green stalk. But the zucchini, and there's more than just that plant in here, and I have not turned that this morning. There's more than just that plant in here. There's another one down there. There's beans in here. There's also, what do you call it? Cucumbers in here. That's just one. The one on the other side is doing much better. Let me just go ahead and turn it and show you. Somewhere along the line, this got broken, but that's the other one right there. That's another squash plant in there too. So I'm excited to see how well these squash plants are growing. They all have female flowers on them. So hoping to get a nice harvest before the squash vine borers get here. I want to say I planted these out, and they're called Emerald Delight. Supposed to have a smaller plant, but you still get a nice size squash. And I want to say I planted these out in like May sometime. The same time I planted out all of the rest of the things in my garden. Over here, you can't really see the green stalk because the nasturtiums are doing so well. Look at those nasturtiums, y'all. They absolutely beautiful. I also think they're trailing nasturtiums, which is why they look so big. I think they're kind of balled up in there together, but I think they are magnificent, like magnificent. Anyway, we have tomatoes growing in here. These are called, what, orange hat tomatoes. So they're a very short variety, compact variety, and you get little tomatoes off them. They get a little bit bigger. But yeah, we have marigolds in here. We have beans in here on the other side. We have basil in here. So this one is doing really well. The orange head tomatoes, because they're so small, they grow nice and compact, which is keeping this tower looking like really neat, if that makes sense. And then we have beans going down over there. If you remember, I showed y'all this tomato plant. It was like coming out of the side. So I went ahead and staked that with a bamboo stake. We harvested the basil really heavily the other day. But that green stalk, no matter how you turn it, just looks so neat. However, I really like the nasturtium side better. And that whole green stalk was also planted sometime in May. A lot of that is from seed, or all of that is from seed. I started the plants from seed, or I direct sowed. The beans I direct sowed, everything else I started from seed and I transplanted it. Right here is just a mashup of things. There's collards in there, there is empty pockets in there. You got marigolds that's not doing great but trying. You have sunflowers. Well, that's like a miniature sunflower. I want to say it's a teddy bear sunflower that I put in there. Swiss chard. This is a green stalk I need to work on. I also missed this garlic, so I need to pull that out. I don't know how I missed that, but that is needing work. When I go and get seedlings today, this one will be filled with seedlings because it look a mess, y'all, a whole entire mess. There you have this green stalk here. This is one of my favorite colors, blackberry. Y'all seen one when I showed the leek and potato soup green stalk. This is a lot of beans. So these are black beans and they will stay on the plant. I will shell them and take the beans out of them. So they're black beans. That's what these are. Down at the bottom are yellow beans. They're just like green beans. They're just yellow. And then we have these patio yellow tomatoes. I was watching Jess from Roots and Refuge, and she said that these tomatoes are kind of made to hang over. I don't know how long I'm gonna be able to let this last, but I'm glad she said that, because if you see, I would have really tried to stake this, right? But it does seem like it's better being allowed to do what it's supposed to do. Because if you see this, everything's not going down. The side shoots are starting to shoot back up. So I'm gonna leave it for now because it's also producing tomatoes. We gonna see how this goes, because when I turn it, it hits other green stalks. And also, like if it's right here, it's in my walking space, but it's okay. So that's one of the patio yellow. You see when I turn it, it get caught on that green stalk, girl, no. And then this is another one right here. Patio choice yellow is what it's called. This one is the one that I broke and then we just put the root ball down. So you see that? Growing tomatoes. So this one will probably start to lay over too. We'll see how that goes. But for the most part, this one is beans. I just recently planted these out because we had onions, I think, in here that got hit with allium leaf miner. So when I took the onions out, I direct sowed beans, and this is what we're looking like now. Over here, we have a raspberry, beautiful, beautiful color, all full of flowers, and I think they're pretty. So we got some sunflowers in here. This is the flower that I wanted the most. Like, this thing is so pretty. This is what it's called. And these were planted like recently too, in May. I'm pretty sure of that, because this also was, I don't know what this was. Or maybe this was just a newer green stalk. I think it was a newer green stalk, and then I wanted one with all flowers. And so that's what's in here, planted recently in May. You have a black one right here, a black green stalk. This is all black beans. So these are the beans that I'm going to let dry on the plant. I'm gonna shell them and take the beans out of the inside. We have a lot of black beans because I like black beans, but I want a lot of them. So you'll see them planted everywhere in the garden, not just in the green stalks. Right here, we have a 3-tier raspberry. Well, we have 2 3-tier raspberries right here. A lot of it is beans. I can't tell you which beans these are. I don't remember, and I did not tag them. Once they start growing, I will know. Probably a yellow bean is my thought, because I didn't have a lot of yellow beans. So I got some bean seeds from Haas, and I think that's what they are, because these are 2 new green stalks as well. I purchased them on the Mother's Day sale. But we have some patio tomatoes in here. I staked these up. I did get around to staking these because they were falling over when I was turning them. So there's 2 patio tomatoes. I think this one has some peppers in it. Oh, there's a amaranth. Look at that amaranth, y'all. It looked terrible. I just need to take this plant out and use this pocket too for a better cause. I just haven't gotten around to it. Look at this patio tomato right here. So these stay pretty short, but still not as short as the orange het. They're like short and compact, but I think that they will produce some nice tomatoes for us. And like down here, we got a candy cane pepper plant. Everything got watered really well. This is a Morosky. So I'm telling you when I planted out, but like peppers, I started those seeds indoors in January. Tomatoes, because all of this right now is from seed. I don't think I've done a trip to the store. If I have, I'm sorry, I apologize. I don't remember doing a trip to the store for vegetables. I did do a trip to the store for those flowers. I did not start those flowers from seed. But like the peppers, I started them in January. The tomatoes, I want to say I started them 6 weeks before my last frost indoors. The leeks, they were started very early. Like I did onions and leeks and shallots, I want to say like sometime in December. I started them really early because I wanted them to be really strong plants. A lot of the herbs, okay, I did get herbs from the store. So a lot of the herbs are from the store, but some of them I was able to start myself. And if you were here, I started them and kind of did a winter sowing type thing where I put them in the sale trays, covered them with the humidity dome, but I left them on my back porch even when it was cold outside, because sometimes herbs need a cold period. They call it cold stratification. I want to say I did that sometime in maybe January or February. There's a video. I promise there's a video for it. So just trying to give you some perspective of I didn't just start. Like when you are planting a garden, if you want to do it from seed, you start months before you actually plant out. So I knew I wanted to plant out in May. Actually, I'm completely wrong. My last frost was the beginning of April. I said May earlier. I'm gonna put it on the screen while when we talking. But my last frost was actually the beginning of April. I plan to plant out at the beginning of May. So some of this stuff actually got planted out at the end of April. Some of it got planted out at the beginning of May. So with that being the case, like I was saying, you don't start your garden in May unless you're buying seedlings. You start your garden planning for it, starting seeds long before that. And in my case, for the summer garden, I start planting in January. That's when I start my first summer seeds, and that's pepper seeds. All right, so we have closed the greenhouse because of Puppy. We have not gotten the greenhouse bed that she was digging in back together, but that's okay, we will. And when I go to the store today, I'm buying some seeds because I don't feel like starting seeds. And what I think it is I don't feel like taking care of seedlings. And that's okay. I took care of seedlings and a lot of them for several months. Anything that did live, which like the Supremos, definitely keeping them because I want to try them. And they did live. So I'm going to keep them. I'm going to up pot them, that kind of stuff, and put them somewhere where they will be in my eyesight and I will water them. But anyway, let's go through the greenhouse real quick. This is a bootstrap farmer greenhouse in case you're new here. It's called a hobby greenhouse. So it is good for HOAs and things like that where you have rules. Because it's not very big and it's not very long. The door that I have on mine was just my preference. You can get whatever kind of door you want to. I also have the shade cloth on here now. We haven't had a super hot day for me to see the difference in the temperature from the outside to the inside. But yeah, I actually really love this thing, y'all. I love it. And I have a little seated area back there. Everything thrifted. I love a good thrifted find. So the table was thrifted and so was the chair. I know people were worried about me putting wood in here. It may be a problem eventually. I'm not gonna worry about it. But anyway, what's in here is some peppers, some nasturtium, some basil. That's what's in this bed right here. Mostly shishito peppers, and like I said, started in January from seed, and candy cane peppers across the back for the most part. There is one, I believe, jalapeno right here. And I need to come in here and zip tie these. Not that I think it's gonna be a big deal inside of here because we're not gonna get a lot of wind and stuff, but I'm gonna zip tie them just to be safe in case they get heavy. So I am using tomato cages around these this year. You all told me to do that. If you're new here, my viewers told me to try this, and I think I'm actually really liking it. I felt like they got a bad name and like people were saying they weren't good and stuff. So I wasn't using them, but I am personally on a mission to find what works for me. So with that being the case, you're gonna see a whole bunch of different ways that I'm trellising tomatoes this year. And that's because I want to see what works for me. These cages, I just heard people say like they're not worth it, they don't work, blah, 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 blah. So I was not using it. This year, out of desperation for not wanting to do the Florida weave, I decided I'm gonna give them a try. They've been working really well. You're gonna see when we get out in the main garden. So we went through and harvested. So there's nothing for me to show you in the way of like peppers. Although I do see one shishito pepper or two back here that I missed yesterday. So I also showed y'all in the community section what I did with that harvest, but see right there, I completely missed those. Anyway, I'll get them eventually. I showed you what I did with some of that harvest in the community section. It's really normally never anything fancy because we just eat it. I'm not making chef inspired meals, although I love to see a pretty curated plate, y'all. But I'm not doing chef inspired, pretty curated plates around here for the most part. Sometimes I will, but for the most part, I do not. That was a root. I thought that was, well, it wouldn't have been able, well, it would have. Okay, anyway, sorry, y'all. Let's talk about our tomatoes. So these are indeterminate tomatoes that I am staking with just some wooden stakes. Still did not come through here and tie these up, y'all. Somebody tell me in the comments, tie your tomatoes up, because I need to do that. You can see like right here, this is a part that needs to be in here and tied to this stake. I have not gotten around to it. Now, what I did get around to is watering. We have Swiss chard down here, in case you're new here. It has slowed down very much, and we are thinking that it is from the heat. When I say we, I mean my viewers and me. But y'all, looky here. These were planted out later. They're Super Sweet 100. They were planted out later than the ones behind them because I had onions in there that had allium leaf miner. So I wasn't planting the spot. I was gonna let them grow until I realized they had onion leaf miner. Anyway, they were planted out later, but they are producing fruit now. So we have 4 Super Sweet 100s. If you're not new here, you know I want to grow that really big truss of tomatoes. We have Rosella. Somebody sent me the seeds. One of my viewers said it was their favorite. So we are going to see how that goes. Right here we have great white tomatoes. I love a white tomato. I don't really enjoy acidic tomatoes for fresh eating. So a white tomato is very delicious to me. That one, I don't know if I said it, is called great white. Oh, y'all see that? Our marigolds on this side, I guess, is getting enough sun because they are starting to bloom in here. We love that. Right here we have Brad's Atomic Grape, and we have flowers and tomatoes on here. I showed them in my last video. Yeah, I'm gonna have to come out here and get this tied up. I think my next video is gonna be a working video, and that'll be a part of it. And then back here we have our Cherokee Purple, which is my favorite. These plants also started, like 6 weeks before our last frost. They're in this greenhouse, seem to be growing really well. Like, look at that. That's amazing. All of those flowers may produce tomatoes for us. Like, they are doing really well in here. I'm pretty excited, honestly, y'all. So yeah, that is the greenhouse tomatoes. Back here, you have another green stalk where I think I planted, I planted runner beans. I don't know that to be sure, y'all. But also, I think that the purple ones, not purple potted, can't think of the name of them. I think they do this too. So it might not be a runner bean. They could just have some vining going on. But for the most part, this is all beans. We got some Swiss chard in here. We had a collard in here, but one of the caterpillars got to it. So when I replant and go and grab stuff today from the store, this will be one that I will be grabbing stuff for because it looked a mess. And that was a marigold, because girl, where is the marigold? Oh yeah, there's a tomato in here too. Orange hat. So yeah, that don't look great either. So yeah, we gotta get that planted out. Also, they started working on the trees. I hope it's not too bad. I'm gonna still go through this garden tour, but I hope it's not too bad. And the last bed in here is supposed to be watermelon, and we do have some watermelon planted. This whole bed was planted with watermelon. This don't look great, and neither does that one. These are sugar baby watermelons, but we're gonna pick up some watermelons from this store today. I don't have the energy, y'all. And then we have a snapdragon. This one volunteered. I was like, oh, you can stay. This is where some watermelon watermelons were, but my dog dug it up. And then you got an eggplant. This was an extra. We got a flower on it right there, if you can see. It was an extra from when I got eggplant for the green stalk. So that's growing pretty nicely. So that is the Bootstrap Farmer greenhouse, which I'm absolutely loving the layout. Now, what I will tell you is I'm thinking I'm gonna put some wood around these beds just to hold things in place, because the birds come in here early in the season and just throw the straw everywhere. My dog came in here and dug it up, which I don't think putting wood around is gonna make a big difference. It probably won't be anytime soon. Because if you're not new here, you know I also am planning on building something for my quail so I can bring the ones that live here back outside. That old coop from the chickens, that thing is a mess. I'm gonna knock that down. We're gonna build something else, something very simple, so I could bring them back outside. And so over here, you got your lavender. We talked about this in the live, I think. So I have harvested some, but then some have actually flowered too. This lavender is in a Vego Garden Easy Cube. Super easy. Like, I don't do anything to it. When I say super easy, completely hands off for me with this lavender, because lavender doesn't need a lot. Also, because it's shaded over here, we still have pansies growing, which is crazy. I don't know how long they're gonna last, because pansies do not like the heat, but it is very much shaded over here, and everything is growing pretty nicely, I think. And then we got a lettuce that's about to go to seed. I didn't plant that on purpose right here, but I left it anyway. I do want to use this space a little bit better. So if you can see it, it's in between the greenhouses. Honestly, like, I would like to get another one of these, pull this down, and then have 2 easy cubes. I need to think about that. Not thinking about it right now, because I also just ordered a new greenhouse to replace that black and clear one. So that'll be coming, and that'll be something that I need to have my mind on. But yes, that's what I would like to do. And then have 2 of these over here. Also don't want to do it before they come and cut these trees back. They said they could do it by the end of June. This tree, I'm saying these trees, is this tree and the tree over there. They're not cutting it down because it's not my tree, but they are going to cut the limbs back. Over here, we have a quick tent greenhouse. So this is just a basic greenhouse. They kind of get a bad name. I actually really love this greenhouse. I've had it for years, like for years. I do not have, and it's under this tree. I don't have any holes and stuff in it. I don't think, I haven't noticed any. It's still standing. I reinforced it and it's been standing ever since. But in here, we have zucchini. This is an Emerald Delight zucchini, and you can see we have female flowers on there. That's a male flower that was already open. I came in yesterday and watered, and so I kind of pushed them back, because the next thing that's gonna grow here, and what I really need to grow, is this roselle. We have zucchini in other places, so if they don't produce, that's fine. This is the only roselle that I have, roselle or sorrel, that I have. And so I needed to start getting sun. So I pushed everything back, even this one, and we're gonna see what happens here, because this is what I want to grow. These are Costata Romanesca squash. They actually vine. Yesterday I was in here watering, because I watered in here too. I threw them in the bed so that I could kind of walk this way, but I never did come back and take them out. But we also have some patio tomatoes back here, and we have tomatoes on there, so they are growing too. We love that. I believe today when I go to the store that we are going to get herbs. So we're gonna pull these squash out. They are very stunted, not doing well at all. No point in wasting my time on this. These were scallop squash. So next year or in the fall, I'll try to grow some scallop squash. We're gonna pull all of this out. This is gonna be a herb bed. It's very much shaded. I think herbs would thrive back here. Then over here, you have a bed of patio tomatoes, but you also have some basil in the middle, and you also have some marigolds. Marigolds not flowering yet back here. A lot of this greenhouse is shaded, but you can still grow stuff in a little bit of shade, y'all. And that's the kind of stuff I want to show you too. So we watered really well in here yesterday, and we are getting tomatoes, and we love that. And we harvested that basil too. So if you have a shady spot, think about things that might be okay to grow in a little bit of shade. Tomatoes is not one of them, which is why these are closer to the front. The other two were extras, so I was like, I'm gonna throw them in here. They extras anyway. I tried to put the things that needed sun into the front, and then other stuff towards the back. And so now I know that back bed, this about to be herbs. And I know this is the garden tour, but people always ask, and I guess it's because I don't talk about them too much anymore. I have chickens. I have 3 right now, but guess what I got in the house along with quail and rabbits? I have 4 baby chicks. They are probably, I guess, 3 weeks now. Forgot to mention it. I got them week before last, I think. Yeah, so we have them in the house. They'll be coming out as soon as they are fully feathered. We will integrate them with the older ladies through a dog cage. Over here, we have some herbs. So this is hyssop. We got some comfrey, still needs to come out of the pot. We got mint in this pot right here. Lemon balm, feverfew, fig tree. Baby, that stuff needs to come out of there. Apple tree that we moved earlier this season is looking pretty good, so I'm happy about that. We also have this rose bush. If you were on the live, you saw, girl, the rose bush then came back. I cut this down to the ground, thinking that it was just gonna die. No, ma'am, it's coming back. And I'm gonna leave it for the season, probably next season. When I move the peach tree, which is right here, I need to cut it down, like a lot. I need to hack this. It was never supposed to be this big. When I move this peach tree, I'm gonna either move that rose bush or I'm going to dig it up and like actually take it out. I dug up the one that was here because I needed to move this apple tree right here. That one, I just thought it would die because I cut it back. That did not happen, y'all. By the way, when did I plant this stuff out in this greenhouse? Want to say sometime late April. I forgot to tell y'all that. Sorry about that. Want to say sometime in late April is when I planted out in here. I kind of lost the plot on that. If I think about it, I'll tell y'all. But I feel like I kind of explained how I planted out, and I don't think y'all want to know every time I planted something. So, you know, you can leave it in the comments if you got a question though. But anywho, this is my whole entire orchard, which has a fig tree. I had a fence here to keep my dog out, and I'm still kind of thinking of what I could do to keep her out. But anyway, you have a fig tree here. You have a peach tree right there. Another peach tree right here. There is a grapevine, a very big grapevine that goes from this trellis right here all the way over and behind these peach trees and everywhere else. It was never supposed to be that big. I had no idea it was gonna take off like that. I think that it's pretty, so I let it go. It's a muscadine grape. We will not get grapes until sometime in August. It's flowering now, but I think it's actually really beautiful. Y'all wanna see something? Those weeds are growing back again. So I need to put some more cardboard down. Now, I don't think the cardboard is going to keep it at bay forever. I do think that it will kill it for right now. So I need to put some cardboard down because the weeds are growing back. And there's weed fabric down, not right here, but like over there where all those other weeds were growing, there's weed fabric down, y'all. These bags, I need to take out these citrus trees. We're done with citrus. I think that they are growing from the root stock. So yeah, I'm done with citrus, y'all. If you are new here, I tried citrus for the first time last year. And I liked growing them. I just didn't like having to try to keep them alive in the winter, and I'm just not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it any longer. So we done with citrus trees. I go get my lemon and lime from the grocery store. The main garden, guys, is looking absolutely amazing. If you're new here, I had to work on the soil in these block beds. You can't really see it, but these beds are made of blocks. They were my first 2 beds. Like, that was my first bed ever. That was the one bed I started growing in. This was my second one, and that was my third one. All made from blocks, right? And the soil was actually really bad in them. I started working on the soil, I want to say last year, and we're actually growing actual like heavy feeding vegetables, which was a problem for a while. In the summer, wasn't a problem in the fall, but in the summer it was a problem. This year we're growing and I'm excited. I'm very excited. So let's start with these potatoes that I watered really deeply because in the past, I have had a watering issue with my potatoes because they are growing in 7-gallon grow bags. So they would dry out and they would start to lay over, and I would think, oh, they're, you know, dying out so I can harvest them. When in actuality, I needed to water them. So I watered really heavily last night. They are still laying over. which means we're very close to harvest time. And so just to show you, these are the potatoes. I did come through yesterday and kind of push them onto themselves so that they could get off of this bed. I had a nasturtium back there that they were covering, and that first pepper right there, they were covering that pepper too. Don't care so much about these leeks. We're going to pull those out. They have allium leaf miner. But yes, these are my potatoes. There are now 28 bags because in my harvest video, I talked myself into harvesting this bag, and I was very happy with the harvest. I'm just gonna let them die back. I'm gonna let them die back. I am gonna slow down on watering them, but this whole section is potatoes. There's some on the other end that have also started to die back, so I'll show y'all that when we get on that side. Let us start this way. I have an asparagus bed if you're new here. I was cutting the ferns very early, wasn't letting them die back. My asparagus bed looks absolutely awful this year, and that is okay. Over here, like I said, we have a nasturtium right here. I love nasturtiums. They're beautiful. They're edible. I eat them. I started them from seed. I actually really love nasturtiums for several reasons. We had leeks right here. Well, we still have leeks. We just have really bad looking leeks right here because we have allium leaf miner. We have one sunflower over here. Right there is a sunflower, y'all. I don't know if y'all can see it. We had 3. I also have a vole problem. So if you do here, I have a vole problem, and the vole pulled 2 of my sunflowers. They were miniature sunflower, teddy bear sunflowers, pulled it down through the ground. I did not come back and plant another one. Honestly, when I get the leeks out, I will decide what I'm doing with this section because I'm going to have to come through and pull those leeks anyway. And I was waiting to pull the leeks until I could pull the potatoes. It would be easier to get to the leeks. But then yesterday, when I pushed these potatoes onto themselves, because I do not walk down my middle section of the garden right now, anyway, my middle aisle, I was like, oh, I could get these leeks out now. So when we do our working video Friday, you'll see that I'm probably going to pull these leeks out too. Right here, we have beans. These are dragon tongue beans. They're just like green beans. You eat the whole entire pod. But down at this end, because I didn't have enough dragon tongue starts. And yes, I do start my beans from seed, but in cell trays as well. And I only do that about 2 weeks before I'm going to plant them out because beans don't like to have their roots disturbed. That's what the garden suggestions say. And so I don't want them to be in the cell trays too long to get root bound, or for me to have to disturb them to get them out of the cell trays. But all of these were started in cell trays and I planted them out. So it can be done. You can also direct sow them. I don't direct sow because I don't remember to water and keep the soil moist. So when you see that I am starting things from seed that they say don't start from seeds inside or in cell trays, that is why. However, it also works. So you can do what you want to do with that information. At the end of this, I can't tell you exactly how many is actually black beans. Those are the ones I'm going to let dry, and I'm going to shell and take the beans from the inside because I didn't have enough dragon tongue beans. Dragon tongue beans are probably my favorite at this point, and my purple potted pole beans are coming up in a close second. So we have California Wonder and Grand Belle in this section right here. Also using my tomato cages for these. They are zip tied together into like just one little structure. It was very simple to put together and it strengthens the cages a little bit. So I'm excited about that. Y'all, look at these beautiful marigolds. They came from the store. I did not start them from seed. The basil started from seed, harvested not too long ago. Some more marigolds. So this bed is looking really good. On the other side, on this trellis though, I think those are cucumbers. Could be cucumbers, could be melons. I really don't remember. Hold on. So there are Armenian cucumbers right here. So they're growing pretty well, not being shaded. We love that for me. And then this is a sunflower, baby. I don't think it wants to live. It's called a tall sunflower. I probably should stake it up. When I say it don't want to live, I could probably help it live a little bit more. But this bed is looking pretty good, aside from the leeks, aside from the fact that the vole took some sunflowers. But I'm not complaining because prior years, this bed just looked a mess. And I'm pretty sure these peppers went out at the end of April because I wanted to get them out early. Don't know why, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened here. I did not record that though. In these 7-gallon grow bags, we have more peppers. I want a lot of green peppers for the most part. I have always grown my peppers in bags because the soil in my bed wasn't doing well. So I still grow peppers in bags, and we also are using our cages. They are zip tied together because eventually these plants are going to get really big. I do not top my pepper plants, so mine grow tall and bushy instead of short and bushy. I like it that way, but eventually they're going to get tall, they're going to get bushy, they're going to have peppers on them. They will start to fall over. I think that these cages will help this year as opposed to trying to tie them to stakes, which is what I have done in the past years. In the next block bed, we have some patio tomatoes back here. Tomatoes have not done well in my block beds either. What I did was I dug these beds last year and early this year and added a lot of amendments. So I did like meal grinds, I did rabbit manure, I put some granulated fertilizer in it. I want to say I did some peat moss, maybe some, what do you call it? Some perlite to just kind of work on the soil, and it has done me well. It has done me really well. These plants are doing great. Now, what I will tell you is there's a cucumber down here that's getting shaded something terrible. So next year, I know if I'm gonna do this, let the cucumbers grow first and then plant the tomatoes because they got big real quick, y'all. And we have flowers on them, so they'll be producing tomatoes for us. We actually have tomatoes on this one. If you can see down there, you see that? Girl, where they at? Right there. We got tomatoes. So they're doing really well. In the middle, I put marigolds, I put basil in here, and not for the reason that you think. I like the way marigolds look. I want a lot of basil to preserve for pesto and for tea. I did not do this for companion planting reasons. I don't really companion plant in my garden. So yeah, I just put them in where they could fit in because I knew I didn't want to put just a whole bunch of tomatoes all here together. Right here you have beans, and this is a purple one. I cannot remember, but this is like the one that I told you is in the greenhouse. So it does not like actually start to vine per se, but it does have a long vine on it, if that makes sense. And this is my beautiful sunflower. That's a teddy bear sunflower. There's one right there as well. So I can't wait to see those. This was supposed to have 3. One of them died. So we only have 2 right there. Then there's leeks, and we have these potatoes that I still need to push. I didn't do that yesterday because I wanted to make sure I knew where I stopped watering. Over here has not been watered yet, but it needs to be watered. We also have nasturtiums, and look how beautiful they are over there. I'll show you a close-up when we get over there because we still have things to talk about over here. So right here on this Hortanova trellising, it is from Haas. I am very, very impressed with this, y'all. So these are tomato plants right here, but do you see that? I'm very, very impressed with this. Very easy to put up. I just zip tied it to it, and it is holding these tomatoes very nicely, and I'm happy about that. One of the things we'll do in the working video tomorrow is attach them to this because it's been a while or you know, a week or so, and tomatoes grow really fast. So these are San Marzano tomatoes on this Hortanova trellis. There's one great white. If y'all remember, this is the one that I broke and I just stuck it back down into the soil. There it goes. That's the top of it. Did just fine. Made sure I kept the soil moist. I also need to come through and put some more straw on these bags over here too. So that's something we'll do in our working vlog. Y'all, I moved right past my lilac green stalk. I always do that and I don't know why. But y'all, look at this green stalk. I mean, beautiful. Those are nasturtiums right there. You got an eggplant with a flower on it right there. Beautiful. Marigolds. You got a pepper, which I did come through and stake. You got basil. This is just a really beautiful and flourishing green stalk. Look at that. That's an eggplant flower. So you got a lot going on in there. Oh, also a candy cane pepper. I love variegated leaves. That's a candy cane pepper right there. So yeah. That's a beautiful green stalk, y'all. I just always forget to show it, and I don't know why. I think it's because the green stalks are over there. This is the first one I ever purchased, and so that's why it stays in the main garden, because that's the first one I ever got, and I think it deserves a spot in the main garden. I would love for them all to be able to be placed around the main garden, but it's just too compact. I've already filled it up. And so I like them over there. It's like my own little, it's like a green stalk garden. So this is the main garden. You got a green stalk garden, greenhouse garden, stuff over there, you know. So that's just the way I did it. If you watch my last video, you know I said we needed to water this. That was Monday. It's still not watered. We're gonna get to it today though. These are early girl tomatoes. And so they are very early, y'all. And they are also on the Horta Nova. Look at it. I mean, I really like this. If you're looking for something simple and easy to use to trellis your tomatoes, now these are indeterminate. I do not know how this is gonna work once they get to the top. We will figure that out once they get there. But yeah, y'all, it looks really, really good. And it is holding them. I'm not having to come and worry about them falling over, which I did have to worry about even when I was doing the Florida weed. They're all in 7-gallon pots, need to be watered terribly. We're not gonna save the flower bed for last this time. Not because it looks any better, but just because we're already over here, so we might as well show it. Flower bed has some butterfly weed or milkweed in it. There's dahlias in here. There's a sedum in here. We have, what do you call those things? Snapdragons, echinacea coming back. I cannot remember the name. Lupin. We have lupin in here. Canna lily. We're not going to talk about her anymore. And some more snapdragons. Oh, there's zinnias back here too because our ranunculus have died back. I still need to dump this. I'm probably going to get around to doing that sometime this week because, yeah, we don't need it anymore. We have a rain barrel. So right beside that bed I told y'all about with the tomatoes, the patio tomatoes, look, there's more in there, pretty marigolds. Like these beds turned out really well this year. We have more pepper plants. They are green peppers. Pretty much all of our green peppers, our grand bells, our California wonders are in bags. We do have a few shishito peppers over here, maybe a jalapeno too, and maybe a golden marconi. But yeah, for the most part, all of the peppers in the main garden are green peppers, and they're looking great. If you were here when I planted these out, they were very yellow. I like to keep pointing this out because I think the first thing we think about is fertilize, fertilize, fertilize. When I planted them out, it was too cold and they were yellow, but they bounced back once it warmed up, turned green. I've only fertilized these one time, and I did not just fertilize these, I was fertilizing the garden. So yeah, these peppers are looking good. We have flowers about to open. I'm very happy for what is going to come of this year. If you were here last year, I had aphids and ants all over my pepper plants. I struggled really bad last year with peppers. This, I hope, is my redemption year because I really want these green peppers. But I don't have any ants or aphids. When I originally bought them outside, I did, but they ended up moving along. Very happy for that. What did I do for them last year? I sprayed them with water for a little while. After a while, I got tired of doing that. I left them alone. They moved on. And then by the end of the season, I was actually getting harvest. So I was very happy about that. This is the other end of the potatoes. Like I told you, we had potatoes down here dying back. I'm still going to water them when I water everything else on this side, but I don't think water is a problem. I'm pretty sure they're just dying back because we about to be harvesting them. Potato harvesting is one of my favorite harvests, y'all. Just so you know, I cannot wait to actually harvest all of these bags. Oh, forgot to show y'all, we have melons over here, but they are being shaded really bad by the tomatoes. So I don't know if we're gonna get melons right here. But we're gonna skip a little bit so I can tell you what my plan is. These zucchini, we're going back, but these zucchini won't be here the whole season, and then I'll have this trellis. So I will get some melon seeds started for whenever these start to look really bad, and then I will put them on this trellis. This should have been more beans, but I have a lot of beans, so I'm not gonna worry about that. But yeah, even over here, like, you got zucchini growing. So I'm pretty excited about that. Let's go back to where we kind of skipped. Right here, you have purple potted pole beans. I have finally gotten them to kind of get up the trellis. So you can see they're starting to come up the trellis. That's what I was working towards. I never did pull the old stuff off of the trellis, so that's something we'll have to do in the working video. Now that they're moving up the trellis, this is just old bean stems from last year, but they're much easier to take off when they're dry. But I need to be careful because see, they're moving up the trellis. Pretty excited. Woohoo! We're gonna have some purple potted pole beans this year. We will have to save the seeds from these plants because I don't have any more, and I don't want to buy them if I can save. So we will harvest them early on in the season, and later we'll start to leave them so that they can dry on the vine and I can save the seeds because we are out of them. These were the last seeds that I had that I started this year with the thought of I am absolutely going to save some from this year. On the back of that bed, we have dahlias. These dahlias were started really early too. I want to say like January because I don't normally have great luck with them, great success. So I was like, if I don't get the plant, I can start them later. Y'all, they growing like a weed. This one broke. I think I mentioned that, but you can propagate dahlias. So that's what I'm trying to do here. You got to keep the soil moist too. So that's going to be the problem. This whole garden needed to be watered. I still haven't got to this side. And people ask me, how do I water? I hand water and I use a sprinkler. That's how I water my garden. I do have drip that was in this bed before I made it a raised bed. And so with that being the case, I need to figure out how to get the drip back on this bed. But for the most part, I just hand water everything, or I turn the sprinkler on the days that I don't feel like doing that. And that's how I water my garden. But looky here. I mean, just beautiful. These dahlias are beautiful. The seeds are from Floret Flowers. They are actually really beautiful and very prolific, y'all. Over here, we have a mess. The ranunculus have died out, y'all. So remember I was telling you, or no, that was on the live. So if you didn't see the live, I'm not really repeating myself if you didn't see the live. But if you did, I am. Anyway, I'm leaving them because I want to put something so I know where they are. I think I'm going to dig the corms up and try to keep them because I do not know how well they would survive in my soil over the winter. But now that the ranunculus is dying, you can see that's my first zinnia. It has died back, but there's plenty more about to come where that came from. And I think there's 4 plants in here. Zinnias get really big. Also, that borage was not giving up. If y'all remember, I took a bunch of borage out of this bed, but once borage goes to seed, you're gonna have borage. And then down here, we have some zinnia volunteers right there. One right there. We got some borage volunteers. So I'm leaving that stuff down there just cause it can grow if it wanna grow. And like I said, we got the zucchini plant right here. This is a squash plant. I just can't remember which one it is. And it's not getting pollinated, I do not think. So that's unfortunate, but it does have a lot of female flowers on it. I might have to start hand pollinating over here but this is where I got my first zucchini from. The zucchini seems to be getting pollinated, but whatever squash this is, not so much. I really sad blueberry bush that has lots of blueberries on it though, that we probably in our working video well, we wouldn't cover this one. We never cover this one, but we need to get the other blueberry bushes covered over there. On the back of this bed, which is shaded a bit, we have some nasturtiums, but they're still growing. There are zinnias over here, but they don't look great. This one is flowering, but it just doesn't look amazing. This little section look a mess, y'all. It's a Vego garden bed back here, but the section looks a mess. It is a shaded space. I think that I want to do herbs over here because like my St. John's wort is going crazy over here in this shade. So is this elderberry bush, elderberry tree. But anyway, yeah, we got elderberry flowers all over it, y'all. Like, they're everywhere. We got to move this, though. It's just too big. Look at that. That's amazing. It's so pretty. I think it's so pretty. I know I'm probably being different, but I think that is so pretty. Anyway, there's some more right here. Look at that one. They're just so pretty. Anywho, that's a mess. That's what this is. I'm going to tell y'all that right now. I had a plan, I had a thought. It is a mess, but we're gonna figure this out too. because this is a lot of growing space. Like, this is a lot of real estate that I'm not using to the best of its potential at all. like at all. This borage down here just looking leggy, baby. It does not, I repeat, does not like shade. The mullein actually grew really well in the shade, but it's its second year, so it's actually about to flower, and I want to see the flowers. But once I see the flowers, I'm gonna cut all of this out because I hear that they're quite invasive, and if it drops seed, you're gonna have mullein everywhere, which for a plant that I want a lot of, I don't care. I don't want a lot of mullein, and I mean, like, I think mullein does like mint, and I can't have that. I wouldn't want mint seeds to drop everywhere either. So once it's done, well, once it flowers, I get to see the pretty flowers because I've seen them on other people's channels. They're beautiful. So I want to see them in my garden, but then I'm going to cut them because absolutely not. Right here, you have tomatoes. I hate these cages, just so you know. In case you were thinking of using them, I'm not telling you not to. I actually hate them. And I got quite a few suggestions about, like, I'm gonna tell you why I hate them actually. There's not enough support going up the cage. So people were saying, just put more of these down the cage, right? First of all, I don't have any more of these. They came in 3 packs. Like, when I say 3 packs, they only had these 3 stakes, and this is what it came with. So there aren't any more. And I could make them into square cages because somebody said that too. But then I don't have enough cages for all of these tomatoes. So I don't have a fix for this year. So when I say I hate them the way that they are made right now. Next year though, perhaps I can make them into a actual square with more support going up them. I'm not buying any more of them though. They weren't that cheap, and the way that they are selling them and marketing them, they suck. In my opinion. That's just my opinion. So I'm not buying any more of them. This was absolutely the worst one. And if you remember, I said earlier that I'm staking and growing tomatoes differently in different ways. I love the Hortanova. The stakes in the greenhouse is working out. I'm going to show you I have some on cattle paddle trellises. Of course, I have the cheaper cages. Those are working out well. These, I don't like them. So with that being the case, we will make them differently next year. That's my thought, because I'm still going to use them. Like I said, they were not cheap. We're just not going to use them in this configuration because they suck. But this is the configuration that they're selling at the store. I don't like it. Okay, over here we have some more dahlias. I actually really love dahlias. I love dahlias, I love zinnias, I love snapdragons, I love asters. Ooh, we got to go back over there. I forgot to show y'all my asters and my cucumbers. We're going back over there in a minute because we're already over here. We're already talking. So we have some snapdragons down here. They are starting to flower. We have more snapdragons, and I think these are so beautiful. The ones with the white and the burgundy. Oh, they're so pretty. And we have them over there too. You see them, they trying to go into the other bed. There's some more. But what you don't see right here is saffron. Because as I understand it, saffron dies back. It'll come back in the fall, and that's when I'll get my flowers and the little things that I'm going to pull up. So we shall see how that goes. They are not showing now because I hear in the summer they die back. So I will keep my eye on this section in the fall when it cools down, because I really do want saffron. I sure do hope that they come back. That was a weed. I was just pulling that. I sure do hope that they come back though, because I really want to grow that. Saffron is a very expensive herb, and I think like you put it in rice. That's one of the things they do with it. I'm not sure. I got to figure that out. Anyway, saffron is right there, y'all. So these are determinate tomatoes, looking so put together. You want to know why they look put together? Because I have tomato cages on them, and they're zip tied together, and they are in the bags. This is great. I have not, now listen, they're determinate tomatoes, so they're not supposed to get bigger. I'm hoping this is the end of how tall they're going to get. I am not pruning these determinate tomatoes. You do not prune, because you're getting your fruit for pretty much every branch, because they're not going to just keep growing. But we have tomatoes in here. We have flowers in here. See those tomatoes? So I'm excited. Over here, we have some more tomatoes popping up and more flowers. I just decided to come back over here and show y'all because the grapevine is attacking me. But anyway, I think this was a great idea. I actually really love them. They're in 7-gallon grow bags. I put the cages in the bags, and we have tomatoes growing. So yeah, I love this idea. Over here, we have more black beans. And like I said, this is the elevated garden bed. I did some UGC content for a company that I work with. And so I ended up with the elevated garden bed as a result of it. And I love it. And so I guess I could tell y'all who it is now. It's from Quick Tent. And so they have an elevated garden bed. I actually really like it. I have had this stuff growing in here, I don't know, probably since sometime in May. We're just in June, so maybe early May. But this is one of the patio choice yellow tomatoes, and it is leaning over, but we got a bunch of tomatoes down there. I'm excited, and I'm just letting it lean over. There isn't much going on in this bed. This was a bed that I had, whatever extra plants I had, I put in here because I did not plan for it. We had a lot of extra black beans this year, which is great because I want a lot of black beans. So these are black beans. The grapevine is trying to get to the beans too, baby. I'm gonna cut this stuff back though. And then there's a zinnia over here. Don't know how well that's gonna do. I like this bed too. Y'all, look at these beautiful hollyhocks. They're beautiful. They're very short-lived, but they actually are so beautiful. I love hollyhocks, y'all. This is the second year though. I had this in here last year. So yeah, but this is the grapevine I told y'all. Look, where are you going? Where are you going, baby? No, just no. But I gotta get it under control. When I say under control, I'm just gonna go right down this thing and cut, and then we're gonna leave it alone. So not under control, but just out of my way. Down here we have calendula and chamomile. I feel like this is coming to an end. Chamomile and calendula prefer cooler temperatures, so I feel like it's coming to an end. I hope to get a bunch of volunteers next year, so I just throw these back into the bed. Somebody asked me, do I buy calendula seeds every year? I don't, because I already had a whole bunch of them. But I also am hoping to get volunteers. But that bed look like it's coming to an end. We talk about that bed all the time because it's right at the beginning of the garden. It's the first thing that we see, and I always talk about it, and it's just beautiful. But I brought you back over here to show you my asters. Look at those beautiful, beautiful asters. They are purple, and we all know I love purple. Actually really love purple, and they're really pretty. So if you can see, we're gonna have more coming down here. I'm gonna stake this. I think it's shaded over here, so it is very much leggy, but also I think I can stake it and it'll get a little bit better. But oh, that's what I was about to say. We have more flowers growing down here. So at this point, I'm probably gonna go ahead and cut the top off of this and stake it, and then I should get a bushier plant. But also we have some Homestead cucumbers over here, so hoping those grow well. I hear that they're very prolific, so I'm hopeful. The mini-me cucumbers are also down here. So we have 2 of each going down this trellis. I think that they're gonna take off and start to grow. I'm very excited. Okay, so I came back around this way. It's easier for me to get down. But we have a bed full of black beans, and it's also a dahlia in here. I'm gonna pull that off because it flowered, but I didn't get it at the time. But it's a pretty big dahlia plant in here too. But all of this is black beans, marigolds in there, nasturtiums in here too. There's some flowers in here, but it's mostly black beans. And this bed will be for black beans all summer because we are going to let them dry on the plants, and then we're gonna take the beans out, like I said. We also have more dahlia down here. There's one dahlia down here, but we also have tomatoes on this trellis, the cattle panel trellis right here. Pretty sure these are early girls right here. We got some Supremos growing, but everything needs to be watered too. That is another tomato trellis option that I'm using, and I knew I was gonna like it because cattle panel is just very sturdy. I love cattle panel. Yes, they are a bit expensive. However, I got mine when I first started, pretty sure the second year. I was seeing other people on YouTube using it, and I was like, yo, that really looks like that would last. And it will. So while it is expensive, and I'm sure it's even more expensive now, and it was quite expensive when I got it. I want to say like $30 some dollars a panel, but it's absolutely worth it in my opinion. So if you were thinking about cattle panel, I'm not telling nobody to buy a cattle panel. I'm just saying it is worth it if it's something that you're thinking about. And the way that I got them home, because that used to be a question I got all the time, is how did I get them home? My stepfather has a truck. I asked him to use his truck and his muscles. And so he helped me. We like folded it over. One of them we folded and I did not fold them again. We just kind of wedged it in the back of the truck, because if you fold it, like literally bend it, you got to get it unbent when you put it up. So like somebody was asking me about my Gothic trellis. It's not Gothic. I folded it instead of like wedging it into the back of the truck. And so that's how I got it home. The ones that we did fold though, in order to get it unfolded, it was like me, my daughter, my little cousin, we just all stood on it at different points, and then it came flat again, somewhat flat, and then we just put it up. And I put all of these trellises up myself, y'all, by myself. But let me just be clear, they will throw you if you are not paying attention. And then I used T-post. And I did use the bigger T-post. So of course, those are a little more expensive too. I did use the bigger T-post. And then I just zip tied it. I zip tie everything, y'all. Zip ties is my best friend. But anyway, the sunflowers. That's the last thing I didn't tell y'all about the sunflowers. Let me get back over there. It's a good problem to have. If you remember right here, this is where we harvested the garlic. We now have sunflowers. I did water over here yesterday. I am deciding to water from hand this time around, just because I want to. I want to be out in the garden, so I'm watering by hand. I know I said I was going to turn the sprinkler on. I didn't, but it's not because I'm not going to. It's because it's still pretty nice, and I can, y'all, I kept seeing something. It was a bird though. And I can stand out here and water. It's actually starting to warm up now. I don't need this hoodie on, but we almost done, so it don't matter anyway. Forgot to show y'all the blueberries too. So here are our blueberry bushes. They are full of blueberries. When we do our working video, I believe that will be one of the things that we will be doing, putting up the blueberry netting. Like this one look bad, so does this one. But we still do have some that have blueberries on them. So we are going to take advantage of that, and we're gonna put the netting on it. So that is the garden, y'all. Beginning of June garden tour. It is looking amazing. A lot of people have said, I think this is your best garden so far. I believe that you are correct. I'm very happy with this garden already. Unless something really bad happens, I think you're right. I think this is gonna be my best garden ever. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Well, so far. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to visit me over on Instagram, where I post about the things going on in my garden almost every day. Bye, y'all.